All right, so today we're going to be diving into mental models.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, they're basically like tools for your brain
Okay.
to like help you make smarter decisions, right?
Yeah.
Especially like when things get all complicated and confusing, and we're focusing on Charlie Munger today.
Cool.
Warren Buffett's billionaire partner,
Mm-hmm.
and how he uses these mental models. And we've got three big ones.
Okay.
First principles thinking,
Right.
inversion thinking, and the circle of competence.
Those are some really fantastic frameworks for making good decisions.
Yeah, for sure. So let's just start with first principles thinking. Like, what is that all about?
So first principles thinking is really about breaking down like these really complicated problems
Okay.
into their like most basic truths.
Gotcha.
It's about questioning everything,
Interesting.
not just accepting what everyone else says or believes. And a great example of this is Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He really like changed the electric car industry with Tesla.
So how did he use like this mental model to revolutionize an entire industry? Back then, everyone just thought that electric cars were way too expensive to make.
Right. Yeah.
And Musk was like, no, I don't accept that.
Uh-huh.
So using first principles thinking, he kind of asked himself like, okay, what materials do you need to build an electric car?
Okay.
And how much do they actually cost?
So he went like back to the basics
Back to the basics. Yeah.
instead of just assuming
Yeah.
they had to be expensive.
He like analyzed those core components and their cost.
That's exactly how he figured out that electric cars could actually be a lot more affordable.
Wow.
And then, that ultimately led to the creation of Tesla.
That's incredible.
It is.
Do you think that's a model that like anyone can use?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not just like if you're starting a company.
Totally. You don't have to be an entrepreneur or anything
Right.
to use first principles thinking.
Yeah.
It's useful for any decision, really.
Huh.
It could be big or small. And the best way to start is to ask yourself, what assumptions am I making about this situation? What are the fundamental facts?
So like if someone's feeling really stuck in their career, instead of just thinking like, ugh, I'm not good enough,
Yeah.
they could use first principles thinking to kind of dig deeper.
Exactly. They could ask, what skills do I actually need to succeed?
Okay.
Is this even the right career path for me?
Oh, interesting.
By breaking down the problem that way,
Yeah.
you can start to see things more clearly
Uh-huh.
and then make more informed decisions.
Like you're taking that feeling of being stuck
Yeah.
and turning it into a problem that you can actually like solve.
Yeah.
So speaking of like looking at things from a different perspective, our next mental model is inversion thinking.
Ah, yes.
What can you tell us about that?
Inversion thinking is a really fascinating technique.
Okay.
It's all about thinking backward,
Backwards.
which might sound a little strange at first,
Yeah.
but it can be super powerful.
Okay.
Charlie Munger actually has a great quote that illustrates this perfectly. He said,
Oh, I love his quote.
all I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I never go there.
Okay. That's a little morbid.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I think I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's talking about like focusing on avoiding bad outcomes
Mm-hmm.
rather than just chasing after good ones, right?
Exactly. Inversion thinking really helps you to think about what could go wrong
Mm-hmm.
and then make choices to minimize those risks.
So rather than just thinking about how to achieve success, you're also considering how to avoid failure,
Yeah.
which could be super valuable, I think, when you're making a big decision, like
Yeah.
a major investment or something.
Absolutely. So with inversion thinking, you wouldn't just think about the potential profits.
Right.
You'd also ask, what could go wrong?
Okay.
What are the risks involved?
Gotcha.
It helps you make a much more informed decision,
Okay.
even if it means walking away from something that seems really good on the surface.
So it's about being proactive with your decision making and like really understanding all sides of the situation.
Precisely, it forces you to assess everything from multiple angles.
I'm seeing how this could be used in so many areas of life,
Oh, yeah.
not just finances.
Definitely, it applies to almost any decision you can think of.
Really, like, give me an example.
Okay, well, think about New Year's resolutions.
Oh, yeah.
People set all these goals for themselves,
Oh, sure.
but so many of them fall through.
I know that feeling.
Right. So instead of just saying, I'm going to be so fit
Yeah.
and just focusing on that positive outcome,
Uh-huh.
use inversion thinking.
Okay.
Ask yourself, what could stop me from reaching my goals?
Oh,
What
no.
obstacles do I need to overcome?
So, like, if I want to work out more,
Yeah,
I'd ask myself, what's going to make me want to skip the gym?
exactly.
Maybe it's like finding a workout buddy for accountability.
Yeah.
Or like making sure that I have healthy meals prepped so I'm not like snacking late at night.
Exactly. By identifying those potential pitfalls ahead of time, you're way more likely to succeed.
That's really interesting.
It is.
This is giving me so many ideas for how to approach things differently.
I love that.
So we've talked about first principles thinking.
Hmm.
We've talked about inversion thinking.
Yes.
What's the third mental model that we're diving into today?
The Circle of Competence.
All right, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So the Circle of Competence is all about knowing your strengths
Okay.
and sticking to areas where you have genuine expertise.
So kind of like knowing your lane and not trying to be like a jack of all trades.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And a really classic example of this is Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger themselves.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're incredibly successful investors, obviously,
Right.
but they're very selective
Oh.
about where they put their money.
So they must have like a really strategic approach to choosing investments.
Do they avoid investing in areas that they don't fully understand,
Interesting.
like certain tech sectors or like
Wow.
crypto?
Okay.
They stick to industries and businesses that they've researched deeply.
So it makes sense. It's about playing to your strengths.
Absolutely. And this applies to way more than just investments.
Yeah.
It's relevant to every single area of life.
So like if someone's terrible at like DIY projects, they should probably just call a professional
Yeah.
instead of like trying to fix things themselves and making it worse.
Precisely be honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
Focus on what you're good at,
Mm-hmm.
and then delegate or get help in those areas where you're not.
That's such a good point. And this idea of the circle of competence, I think, is really empowering.
Yeah.
It means you can focus on developing your strengths
For sure.
and becoming a true expert in like whatever area you choose.
Right. It's about specializing
Yeah.
and recognizing that you don't have to be good at everything to be successful.
But how do you figure out what's inside your circle of competence?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of honest self-reflection.
Oh, okay.
Ask yourself, what do I truly understand? What have I spent years learning and mastering? Interesting. And equally important, what are the areas where I just lack knowledge or experience?
It makes you think, do I really understand this thing that
Yep.
I'm investing my time, money, and energy in?
Exactly.
That's a powerful question.
It is. And remember, it's not about being perfect
Okay.
or knowing absolutely everything.
Right.
It's about being self-aware
Uh-huh.
and understanding that you just can't be an expert in every single thing.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
I'm glad.
We've covered first principles thinking,
Yeah.
inversion thinking,
Mm.
and the circle of competence.
Yes.
Each one offering like a different way to approach problems
For sure.
and make smarter decisions.
And the best part is
Yeah.
that they can be used in almost any situation.
That's what makes them so valuable.
Totally. They're like tools in a toolkit.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
you just pick the right tool for the job.
Now, these mental models are incredibly insightful,
They are.
but they can also be pretty challenging to put into practice.
Yeah.
True. I mean, it's one thing to understand them, but it's a whole other thing to actually use them.
Totally.
So how do you suggest that someone actually integrates these into their like daily decision making?
Yeah. It does take a lot of conscious effort
Mm.
and practice to make them like a regular part of your thinking.
Okay.
It's like learning any new skill, really.
Right.
Patience and persistence are key.
So what's a good starting point?
Hmm.
How can someone actually start using these mental models like in their everyday life?
I would say start small.
Okay.
You know, pick one mental model that really speaks to you
Mm-hmm.
and just try applying it to a specific decision that you're facing.
So like, let's say I'm overwhelmed by all the choices when I'm trying to pick out a new phone.
Okay.
Could I use the circle of competence for that?
You could. Yeah.
Like, instead of getting caught up in like, all the bells and whistles,
Uh-huh.
just focus on what I actually need the phone to do.
Exactly. You could
Okay.
ask yourself, what are my main uses for a phone?
Mm.
Do I really need like the most advanced camera
Yeah.
or the fastest processor?
Right.
Or would I be better off with a more affordable option
Right.
that meets my basic needs?
By prioritizing like my needs and my usage habits,
Mhm.
I can avoid falling for like all the marketing hype
Totally.
and make a choice that aligns with my budget.
It's about making intentional choices.
Yeah.
And that's where these mental models can be so helpful.
Right.
They help you cut through all the noise
Uh-huh.
and really align your decisions with your values
Okay.
and your goals.
This is so practical.
It is.
It's not about becoming some kind of like philosophy expert or anything.
Right.
It's about using these mental models as tools to navigate like real life situations.
I agree. The more you practice using them, the more natural they'll become.
Okay.
You're essentially building mental muscle.
Interesting.
You'll find that you approach problems and decisions
Yeah.
with a lot more clarity and insight.
It's like having a secret weapon.
Yeah.
For making smarter choices.
I love that analogy.
In a world that's becoming increasingly more complex, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
It's like giving you a mental edge.
That's a great way to put it. And this is really just the beginning.
Okay.
There are so many other mental models out there.
Oh, wow.
Each one offering a unique perspective on problem solving
Uh-huh.
and decision making.
And that's why we're doing this.
Yeah,
Exploring this world of mental models with you.
exactly.
We want to help you unlock your full potential
Mm-hmm.
and guide you to make choices
Yeah.
that lead to a more fulfilling and successful life.
So in our next deep dive, we're going to be exploring some other mental models
Right.
that can help you overcome those really common cognitive biases.
Ooh, interesting.
This will be super helpful,
Yes.
especially when it comes to making financial decisions.
I can't wait to learn more.
Me too.
Before we wrap up this episode, I want to hear from you which mental model that we talked about today really stood out to you. And how do you plan on applying it in your own life? Let us know in the comments. We love hearing from you and learning from your experiences.
Remember, becoming a better thinker is a continuous journey.
Yeah.
It's about expanding your mental toolkit
Mm-hmm.
and becoming more adept at understanding the world around you.
It's about using what we learn to create positive change
That's
and make the world a better place.
So keep exploring,
Yeah.
keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of your thinking.
Okay.
The more you learn, the more you realize how much potential you have.
It's exciting to think about.
It is.
It's about shaping your own destiny,
Mhm.
making a difference, and living a meaningful and fulfilling life.
So go out there and make it happen.
And until next time, keep those mental gears turning.
Yes.
And those decisions flowing smoothly. Yeah, it really is. It's a journey of continuous learning
It is.
and growth. There's always like something new to discover
Yeah.
and a different way to look at things.
That's the beauty of it. The world of knowledge is just vast.
Yeah,
And it's always expanding.
it is.
And by incorporating these mental models into our life,
Uh-huh.
we're kind of equipping ourselves with the tools
Okay.
to navigate all that complexity and make sense of it all.
It's like we're building a mental map
Yeah.
to guide our decision making.
Yeah.
And the more mental models that we like add to our toolkit, the more detailed and accurate that map becomes.
We go from like passively absorbing information
Okay.
to actively engaging with it,
Yeah.
analyzing it
Mm-hmm.
and using it to shape our understanding
Right.
and make more informed choices.
And that's what I find so exciting about this.
Yeah.
It's not just learning for the sake of learning.
Right.
It's about empowering ourselves to like make a real difference in our lives
Yes,
and the lives of others.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The ultimate goal is to put that knowledge into action,
Yeah.
using what we learn to solve problems,
Mm.
create positive change, and ultimately make the world a better place.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
let's not just file away these mental models
Right.
like in the back of our minds.
Yeah.
Let's challenge ourselves to actually like actively use them,
I love that.
experiment with them,
Yeah,
and just see how they can help us make smarter decisions,
exactly.
reach our goals, and just live more fulfilling lives.
It's all about that.
Yeah, and remember, this is a continuous process.
It is.
There's always more to learn, more to understand,
Always.
and new ways to refine our thinking and our decision-making.
Keep exploring, keep learning,
Yeah.
and keep pushing those boundaries of your thinking.
Okay.
The more you learn,
Mhm.
the more you realize just how much potential you have.
That's exciting to think about.
It really is. And that's like the most exciting realization of all, right?
Yeah.
Having the power to shape our own destinies, to make a positive impact on the world,
Okay.
and to live lives that are both meaningful and fulfilling.
That's what it's all about.
It is so, go out there and make it happen.
All right. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into mental models.
It was my pleasure.
We'll catch you next time.